Council, please come to order. We'll begin with an opening prayer led by Alderman Grant Neuendorf.
Almighty God, we ask you for your blessing upon the members of this council as we assemble here in the chamber to conduct the ongoing business of our city. With your guidance, we will strive to ensure that all our decisions are for the common good, and your inspiration will instill respect, compassion, and thoughtfulness in all our deliberation. Give us the strength and wisdom to lead by example as the people representatives, and that peace and harmony will mark all of our proceedings and keep us faithful to the trust placed in us by the citizens of our community.
Amen. Thank you. President Pro Tem Alderman DeLucia, please.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
At this time, I would ask for the adoption of the minutes from October 4th and 18th, November 15th, December 7th, and December 20th, 2020. Is there such a motion, please? Alderman Wilson, seconded. President Pro Tem DeLucia. Is there discussion? Yes. Alderman Singh?
Yes. On December 7th meeting, at the end, where it says seconded by Alderman Wilson, actually it was Alderman Singh.
Oh.
And I did check the video just to double check it.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you.
Is there further discussion or concern? Seeing none, a roll call, please.
Alderman Wilson?
Yes.
Alderwoman Berto?
Yes.
Alderman Singh?
Yes.
Alderman Gould?
Yes.
Alderman Neuendorf?
Yes.
President Pro Tem DeLucia?
Yes.
Mayor Nystrom?
Yes.
That's 7-0. The State of the City Address by Mayor Peter Albert Nystrom.
Good evening,
Good evening.
all of those who are assembled and anyone able to see this transmission. As we begin 2022, I fully understand that just about everyone in our community has been as patient and persistent as they possibly could have been over the past 21 months. There has been so much change, delay, and inconvenience related to the pandemic, above and beyond all of the sickness, death, and sadness in Norwich and around this world. But I've always been a firm believer in the old age that adversity does not develop one's character, it reveals it. As I begin my latest term as a mayor of Norwich, I am more and more certain that Norwich has revealed great character throughout the pandemic. And as a result, we will emerge as a stronger community when this unprecedented event is behind us. There are many signs for optimism in our midst, from the tireless and inspirational healthcare professionals on the front lines to everyone in our school systems who are caring for and educating our kids, the men and women of the Norwich Fire Department, Norwich Police Department, our volunteer fire departments, and our first responders have all been there for the public when they have been needed, and no matter when or how frequently, without question, without fail. The economic damage created by the pandemic may have dampened the spirits of many of our small businesses, but so many of them have adapted and adjusted to the changing environment and will emerge even stronger. One example is our own Craftsman Cliffs Roaster, who switched from a coffee shop location to a coffee manufacturer, and whose sales continue to expand and is now looking for a larger location in downtown, while at the same time supporting the opening of a new coffee shop on Franklin Street named Cream LLC. Our ethnic restaurants, the heartbeat of our community, found innovative ways to connect with and serve their patrons. La Stella's Pizzeria ramped up takeout services and soldiered on, and never stopped assisting the most vulnerable in our city. As we begin this new year, all of us can look forward to the opening of a second storefront called La Stella's Pasta and Pastry, as Justin Burrows and his family expand opportunities at the former Poppy and Rye Bakery. All of this adversity has brought about creativity and new strategies and will help us all get through this together. America always bounces back. That's part of what makes this country great. And the recovery from the pandemic might take a while longer, but there's no question that Norwich will be back stronger than ever. The private sector, in spite of the pandemic, has continued to invest in our city. Back on November 30th of 2021, Solar Seal Architectural, LLC, leased over 200,000 square feet of space for the next 12 years in the former Leiter building. Here they will manufacture premium insulated glass units for medium and large applications. In addition to up to 100 jobs, they will become one of our top 3 utility users. Over $8 million is being invested on Lower Main Street in market rate housing, while another $2.3 million investment involves the relocation of These Guys Brewery to Church Street. Both these projects will benefit with some assistance of our share of the American Rescue Funds. These funds are being provided through our local Norwich Community Development Corp., having been assigned the important task of addressing code via correction issues for the first time on a citywide basis. Added progress continues in the development of the Business Park North, spearheaded through NCDC in partnership with NPU and with the City of Norwich. The historic Hale Mill development is still moving forward as we look to complete final discussions with the development team this month. American Rescue Fund dollars also allow us to expedite and complete Uncas Leap Park. Our goal is to have this declared a national park one day. These enormous economic investments by the federal and state government will make us stronger, our communities safer and healthier, while creating jobs and rebuilding our neighborhoods. Additional emphasis will be placed on upgrading our infrastructure to combat severe flooding, improve communications between our first responders, assist our Human Services Office to support community health, mental health, employment support, recreation assistance, and the largest portion of its share, over $890,000, going to basic needs for families, which our city manager, John Solomon, likes to call the heart of the program. Additionally, we're investing $500,000 in local arts and culture, working through the Southeastern Cultural Coalition. Just yesterday, it was announced that the Norwich Arts and Culture Coordinator had in fact been hired. In the coming months, the City of Norwich will be working with our federal and state officials to determine the size, scope, and timing of further investments that will have the opportunity to move the Rose City forward in a very significant way. Sometime in May, our city will receive an additional $14.429 million in ARP funds. This work will be difficult and time-consuming, but we all must work together to be sure that everything is accomplished in a timely and equitable manner. As we have all seen, continued obstacles are sure to stand in our way, but the new normal requires that we all must accept sacrifice. Please join me in staying strong and being optimistic about Norwich in 2022 and beyond. Further, I ask for your patience as we fight through together the continued pandemic. Thank you very much. If you just give me a moment.
Petitions and communication. Letter of resignation from Kristen Talley from the School Building Committee 2020.
At this time, I would ask for a motion to please accept this petition, please.
I'll make a motion.
Alderman Wilson, second by Alderman Singh. Is there discussion? Yes, Alderman Wilson.
I would definitely like to thank Kristen Talley for her work representing Norwich Public Schools on the School Building Committee. I know the great work that she has done, not only on this committee, but several others that I've served on, and I think it's appreciated the voice of diversity and concern for all that she has brought to the table, and wish her the best in her future endeavors.
Thank you, sir. Is there further comment? Seeing none, roll call, please.
Alderman Wilson.
Yes.
Alderman Roberto.
Yes.
Alderman Singh.
Yes.
Alderman Gould.
Yes.
Alderman Newendorf.
Yes.
President Pro Tem DeLucia.
Yes.
Mayor Nystrom.
Yes.
7-0.
Motion passes 7-0.
City Manager's report.
Thank you. Looks like there's going to be some feedback. Yeah.
Just turn down a little bit.
I'm not sure if you can tone, I don't know. Yeah, that would be better. Thank you. I'll turn this one off. This is the city manager's report for January 3rd, 2022. Due to the uptick in the spread of COVID over the holiday season, masks are required in City Hall and city-owned buildings until further notice. The tax office will be closed for in-person payments until January 10th, 2022, due to staffing shortages caused by the COVID virus. We encourage taxpayers to pay taxes remotely if possible. Non-delinquent taxes can be made at any Norwich People's United Bank. Taxpayers do not need to be a People's United Bank customer to make their payment at a branch location. The city also offers payments via mail drop box located at City Hall, the Broadway entrance, or online at our norwich.org/taxes. I attended the Northeastern Council of Governments meeting and met with the emergency management personnel several times regarding the distribution of COVID test kits. The city received a limited quantity of COVID self-kits from the state for local distribution for those who were symptomatic or had a high-risk exposure. Kits were distributed by city employees today, and the remaining kits were distributed at the drive-through distribution site on Stonington Road. We understand the concern of our community members as case numbers increase and unfortunately cannot provide one test kit for each resident at this time. We hope to receive more test kits from the state in the coming weeks to have future distributions. Now, I do have some updated numbers that I put on my phone. On Saturday, we took in 63 cases of self-test kits and 20 cases of adult N95 masks. We coordinated the school's first responders, frontline, and essential workers to provide masks and test kits. Then today did a distribution event for Norwich residents only. A total of more than 19,000 masks and 2,800 test kits were dispensed. Special recognition to Mark Waters for his efforts in coordinating the distribution supplies, with special thanks to Captain Viega, NPD officers that worked the event, CERT members who provided valuable support. Overall, it really was a fantastic joint effort. The distribution was set to start at 3 o'clock, and by 3:35, we had distributed all our stock of test kits. We obviously had to turn away people. We tried to cut off the line so they wouldn't have to wait, and we were pretty successful in coordinating that. So we're waiting for other masks, and no, masks were okay. We're waiting for other kits, and if and when we receive them, we'll go through the same process, because there is a great demand to know where you stand as far as the infection, and we are concerned that without adequate testing, the infections will increase. The Public Works Engineering Department met with Norwich Public Utilities to discuss the paving priorities and schedule for next construction season. Unfortunately, some of the roads which have been identified to be paved will not be ready for the coming season, as there is still utility work pending. Other roads that do not require utility work will be identified. Engineering staff also met with paving contractor Charles Pasternak Jr., Inc., to discuss the roads which will be paved next year. Public Works crew made some emergency repairs to the culvert at Leffingwell Place to mitigate further issues for the adjacent house. I will make another note that we will be applying for a FEMA grant for that drainage project for long-term permanent repairs to that area, and also for upstream from there in the vicinity of the Tech High School to create additional retention basins to slow the water's descent down the valley towards Bacchus Hospital, which had quite a bit of flooding in their parking lot area in the last deluge we had in the fall. Repairs were also made at the Lakeside Pavilion at Mohegan Park for deterioration that has been caused by carpenter ants and weather. Attached are the fire chief's report for the December meeting that will be presented at the January public safety meeting, and the treasurer's report for the quarter ending September 30th, 2021. And that concludes my report for this evening.
Thank you, John. Other questions of the city manager? Alderman Singh?
Thank you, John, and I actually want to commend the efforts of our Norwich Fire Department, our emergency management, and our Norwich PD. I attended today's test kit distribution with Mayor Nystrom and with you, and it was just amazing to see how organized they were, and definitely that's not their first rodeo, you can tell, and they were distributing it very safely. They were checking IDs. My only concern was actually, of course, the information was shared in day advance on their Facebook page, and there was almost like 95 shares to that post, but it wasn't enough time, and some people had complained that didn't have the information. Even though I did check, NBC also shared that information. I don't know how we can make a little better communication next time, even if it's a short period of time. Not sure if people can sign up to our city website with their email so they get to know all the updates, or if
They can do that.
so maybe we just have to, maybe you have to give a little presentation about that or something so people know there's a way. If there's any information which is in the limited time, they can still access that information, you know. So that was my only concern. Overall, I think today's distribution was very successful, and I am sure we will have to do more effort in these kind of distributions. And if the state is unable to provide us with the more test kits or masks, maybe we should think of putting some investment to make our, resident more safe on these lines. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Is there further discussion? Alderman Wilson?
Good evening. Mr. Solomon already knows I sent him a lengthy email about some of the concerns that I have. I do appreciate all of the work that has had to go in to quickly turn around getting the masks and the test kits out. What I'm going to say is nothing new. It's some of the same things I've been concerned about since the beginning of the pandemic. With our positivity rate double of what it's been at any point in during the pandemic. The concern, of course, of many more residents testing positive, but we're back to school starting today. has been a concern, of course, of the limit of testing. And I have shared with him, Dodge Stadium being really one of the only mass sites. Of course, we have Mohegan Sun as well. But there being so many individuals coming to our region to take the tests, it is stifling the individuals within our community as well. We have to take into consideration the individuals that rely on these sites to get their weekly testing, individuals that are feeling symptomatic, but also even those that are checking themselves because they've come in close contact. So there are a lot of factors that are going into long lines at urgent cares, hospitals, and these sites. And my concern is in my opinion, have not reached the peak. And so the concern that I have, and I've shared with the city manager, is we have to continue to ring the alarm to the governor's office and all that we can to get more testing site expansion within the region. All our surrounding towns are coming to the Norwich site, and we want to be able to curb this spike, but we can't do that if we can't get enough testing out. So that is a huge concern of mine. Of course, I've also shared with him, the other concern of, as we plan other distributions, if they do come, taking into consideration, we have a lot of apartment complexes and a lot of individuals that aren't able to make it out to the Foxwoods area during the day, but also keeping in mind the schools. So, depending on the time when the distribution happens, a large population of individuals may not have the means or the opportunity to make it to a distribution site because, of course, they wouldn't want a chance getting their children off the bus or being there for pickup. So there are a lot of things that we still have to work on. Communication's a big one. We've got to figure a way to ring the alarm to more residents about opportunities. That's the beauty, I think, that we have of being in this for 2 years, but also the beauty of us having resources to possibly allocate to fix some of those problems down the road. But we've got to continue to brainstorm and figure things out. And I've already told them that I will reach out and we'll sit and chat more about it. But those are some of the concerns I definitely have moving forward. Thank you.
Thank you, City Manager.
Alderman Singh, I did have one piece of information about the information. We didn't receive the test kits until Saturday afternoon. So, and we weren't going to advertise it until we received it. As you recall, the difficulty we had when we advertised the previous week for a distribution that never occurred.
Yes.
So we really had 1 day to do it. So with adequate time lead, I think we can do a better job of getting the word out. But it's very hard with only 1 day in a holiday weekend. Many people did get the message, as you can see by how many people we had show up. So
No, exactly.
yeah, exactly. Thank you.
Thank you. President Pro Tem.
Thank you, Mayor. John, we're still having the weekly meetings and regional update with Uncas Health District and all of the major stakeholders surrounding the pandemic. Not the meetings, but the
I couldn't hear you. Thank you.
we're sure. We're still having the weekly phone meetings
Yes,
with.
every other week.
Oh, okay. So I would just ask that the distribution of testing sites or the addition of a couple of testing sites, and I know that this is a regional effort and as it should be, but I'm hearing many calls or fielding many calls as well that the Dodge Stadium site just is getting overwhelmed. And so as much as the area, the region is counting on us because of the size of that facility, the fact that it's being overwhelmed kind of speaks to the need for maybe at least another site somewhere that can
can share some of that load, because Alderman Wilson is right. We're hearing from many residents of Norwich that they can't, they can't access the testing site. And so I would just like to put that on your radar and ask you to raise that as a discussion item at the next meeting. Certainly, I would never say that, we're going to form two lines, those who are residents and those who are not. We would never do that. But if we were to have another testing site that was maybe not in the city of Norwich, that some of our smaller surrounding towns could access, that would take some of the load off of the Dodd Stadium site.
I agree. Dodd Stadium is almost in gridlock in the beginning of each distribution. There are traffic problems at the industrial park in general as the parking lot spills over into the queue that goes outside of the stadium. And that's a pretty big parking lot to get overfilled like that. So I share your concerns on that, and we will be talking and using Uncas Health as a pivot point to discuss that with state Department of Health officials. I think this area is probably a little underserved with testing sites.
Right. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there further? Yeah, Alderman Singh.
So John, of course, like I agree with Alderman DeLucia, like we don't want separate lines and stuff. But if we see the track record of Norwich, I think we were one of the 5 most top cities at one time, which had a major spike in COVID cases. So that might, if we even if it's a regional effort, maybe we can have a second site dedicated to just Norwich residents. I don't know if that's a possibility to look into, but then at least our Norwich people don't think that it might take them 3 hours just to get testing done.
We'll
So
look into that.
maybe that's somewhere you want to do a little investigation. Thank you.
Thank you, Alderman Wilson.
I just want to give kudos to the superintendent, Dr. Stringfellow, for keeping us in the loop as to the decisions being made as far as their changes to COVID-19 protocols. Although we don't oversee the Board of Ed, I think it speaks volume to her leadership of keeping us in the loop of what's going on over there so that we are all on the same page. And I think just the only thing I would say as far as a Norwich-only site is we have to remember, with us going back to school and there being close contacts and protocols in place for testing, and us having one of the largest high schools in the region, you have that piece of those sending towns that are sending kids here that may need to get tested as well. So this is a huge undertaking. No one expected a spike like we've seen. So as the mayor said during his address, it's going to take us all fighting this together, working together to get something in plan. I think we all have a collective mind to get to that point. So it's going to take everything, but thank you.
Thank you. Is there further discussion? I will just let the council know the next call is this Friday morning. It was set up at 9 a.m. at the request of Senator Austin when we began these calls because she was trying to stay in touch with all the 10 towns she serves. I then invited the other legislators and the department heads and the city manager. Uncas Health is on the call, United Community Families on the call, Hartford Healthcare is on the call. We're trying to get everyone there in that first hour that we can share as much timely information about testing, about the shots being given and so forth. What I can do at this point going forward is continue taking notes and then share them with the council after. If you'd like to reach my chicken scratch, I have the notes from last year, but you may not want to. But I've kept them all in a file just to be consistent. I can tell you, United Community Family Services does in fact provide testing and shots in other communities at their own other centers, like in Griswold and so forth like that. They also, they're doing the best they can with the resources they have. Keep in mind, we were supposed to get 5,000 test kits, and we got a little over half of that. But that was true of every city and town in the state. John and I are also working to identify other sources for kits. But the kits will not be free. The lowest price unit I've found as of today is $5 a box. So, but I think keeping our public safe is worth the $5, so we're gonna have to act on that quickly unless somebody else learns of that source and gobbles it up. But, John, thank you.
Citizen comment on resolutions.
Okay, as we go forward with citizen comment on resolutions, I'd like to remind our listeners that we again are set up for you to call in, and that phone number is 860-215-8140, and when prompted, please enter the conference ID 403-8191 and then press the pound key. All of this is in compliance with the executive orders that were most recently passed by the General Assembly extending the governor's authority. It did in fact contain this ability for us to do this telephonically. So again, the number is 860-215-8140, and when prompted, enter the conference ID 403-8191, and followed by the pound key, and at this time I declare citizen comment to be open. For the benefit of our listeners, there are 3 business resolutions on our agenda. The first one is dealing with an appointment to the School Building Committee. Earlier tonight, you saw we accepted the resignation of Kristen Talley. The resolution tonight would be replacing her with Cindy Beauregard. We have one appointment, which is the city managers to the Harbor Management Commission, and that gentleman is Michael Aliano to be reappointed. And then we have a resolution relative to the Connecticut Communities Challenge Grant Program that we're hoping to apply for. Those are the 3 issues on our agenda. Oh, Sophia.
Yeah, we appointed Michael last week.
Thank you. My apologies if you're watching. We actually reappointed Michael Aliano last meeting. Tonight's person is Sophia LeWitt. Again, the lines are open, 860-215-8140, followed by the conference ID 403-8191, followed by the pound key. Again, we invite your comment on these 3 resolutions to our appointments, and one is to apply for a challenge grant program. The number is 860-215-8140, conference ID 403-8191, and the pound key. This is the 3rd and final request. If you'd like to speak about the 3 resolutions, please dial 860-215-8140, conference ID 403-8191, and the pound key. At this time, I then would declare citizen comment on the resolution to be closed. Thank you.
Resolution number 1, relative to an appointment to the School Building Committee, 2020.
Motion, please bring it forward. President Pro Tem DeLucia, second by Alderman Wilson. Is there discussion? President Pro Tem.
As you mentioned, Mr. Mayor, Cynthia Beauregard volunteered to fill this vacancy. She served on the School Facilities Committee that was the predecessor to the School Building Committee. Her input was invaluable. I am just so pleased that she was willing to step up again and join the School Building Committee. And I'm looking forward to having her on our team. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there further discussion? Alderman Singh?
Yeah, I just want to echo the sentiments of Alderman DeLucia, and I know Cindy for a long time, and she's not just active member of Norwich Public School, but also active member of our Norwich community. And I see her on many events. I think she'll be a great asset to this school building committee with all her insights from the school. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there further discussion? I would just like to add that I support this nominee. She's a wonderful member of our community. You'll find her helping and assisting United Way at food drives at every opportunity. Sometimes she's chairing them herself. She does a great job in our school system with our little ones. She's just an outstanding human being, and we're lucky to have her willing to serve and spend her time, as Pro Tem said. Thank you. Roll call, please.
Alderman Wilson?
Yes.
Alderwoman Berto?
Yes.
Alderman Singh?
Yes.
Alderwoman Gould?
Yes.
Alderman Neuendorf?
Yes.
President Pro Tem DeLucia?
Yes.
Mayor Nystrom?
Yes.
That's 7-0.
Motion passes 7-0.
Number 2, relative to a reappointment to the Harbor Management Commission.
Motion, please. Alderman Wilson, is there a second? Alderman Singh? Is there discussion? President Pro Tem.
I would just like to thank Sophia for being willing to continue on the Harbor Management Commission. The harbor, as we all have discussed, and I believe we all agree, the harbor is a huge resource for us in a lot of different ways. And having quality people on the Harbor Management Commission really makes a difference. So thank you, Sophia.
Thank you, sir. Further discussion? Roll call, please.
Alderman Wilson?
Yes.
Alderwoman Berto?
Yes.
Alderman Singh?
Yes.
Alderwoman Gould?
Yes.
Alderman Neuendorf?
Yes.
President Pro Tem DeLucia?
Yes.
Mayor Nystrom?
Yes.
That's 7-0.
Motion passes 7-0.
Number 3, relative to the Connecticut Community Challenge Grant Program.
A motion, please, to bring this resolution to the floor. Alderman Singh, is there a second? Alderman Wilson. Before we discuss the matter, there's a blank in paragraph 3. I would ask for an amendment to add in the space that is blank, an amount of $2 million. If someone would please make that motion.
So moved.
Pro Tem, seconded by Alderman Singh. All those in favor, let's have a roll call on the motion to amend.
Alderman Wilson?
Yes.
Alderwoman Berto?
Yes.
Alderman Singh?
Yes.
Alderwoman Gould?
Yes.
Alderman Neuendorf?
Yes.
President Pro Tem DeLucia?
Yes.
Mayor Nystrom?
Yes.
That's 7-0.
Motion to amend passes on the resolution as amended. Is there further discussion? Roll call then, please.
Alderman Wilson?
Yes.
Alderwoman Berto?
Yes.
Alderman Singh?
Yes.
Alderwoman Gould?
Yes.
Alderman Neuendorf?
Yes.
President Pro Tem DeLucia?
Yes.
Mayor Nystrom?
Yes.
That's 7-0.
Motion passes 7-0. Is there a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn by Alderwoman Gould. Is there a second? Alderman Singh. Roll call, please.
Alderman Wilson?
Yes.
Alderwoman Berto?
Yes.
Alderman Singh?
Yes.
Alderwoman Gould?
Yes.
Alderman Neuendorf?
Yes.
President Pro Tem DeLucia?
Yes.
Mayor Nystrom?
Yes.
That's 7-0.
We are adjourned. Thank you all.